ever speak to me like that again, better be wearing a cup.
Baby steps.
One break, I'm in up.
Okay, friends, let's everybody take your positions, please. Here we go. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, rolling. Dave!
And
Dave!
Unchained.
welcome to Dave and Dave Unchained, a Van Halen podcast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Dave.
And this is episode number 34. We are back for more, Dave. And it is the month of Rocktober, which means we are celebrating the birthdays of our two lead singers, Sammy Hagar and David Lee Roth. And in this particular episode, because last year we focused on Sammy, this year we're going to be focusing on Dave. This whole episode is going to be dedicated to Dave's 1994 solo album, Your Filthy Little Mouth. Dave and I are going to go into a deep dive discussion on it. We also have interviews with the producer, Nile Rodgers, as well as an interview with his guitarist, Terry Kilgore. And that was a real fun discussion. Terry is a colorful character, and he got into all things David Lee Roth and his days back in the day with the old Van Halen guys. He knows Eddie and Alex from back in the old days. And so we have that whole episode ready for you. But before we have that, we have some Van Halen news. Well, of course, we are back in the same situation where the band has officially announced nothing. And it's the truth. And we are, more importantly, still on the Wolfie watch. No signs at all of anything about this Wolfgang album. It has been months now that it has been complete and just deafening silence. Dave, what do you make of this?
It's going to be a quick hit when it happens. I think it'll still be a few more months. And then when we're least expecting it, boom, the announcement will be there. And it'll be out in like a couple of months.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're looking at a 2019 release. And if I were to guess, I'm going to say March. I'm going to say somewhere around there. Typically, March is a month where a lot of big albums come out. They're still in the first quarter of the year. People like to wait until the next year to have a brand new thing for 2019. So that's just an absolute guesstimate. We have no knowledge based on that, but I am just reading the tea leaves, as they say, Dave, because as you
Can you tell me when Van Halen's going to tour in those tea leaves?
Exactly. I don't know. I think something is on the horizon. I feel something is on the horizon. So we'll see. Hopefully in 2019. I mean, how far are you going to push it at this point? I mean, these guys are not young chickens, These guys are old. I mean, Dave just turned 64 on October 10th, and Sammy just turned 71 on October 13th. We wish them both a happy birthday. They are both in good shape and looking good and are strong and doing well. So hopefully they last many years. I mean, like we said before, everybody's out doing their goodbye tours. I mean, and I don't know if Van Halen's the type to do a goodbye tour, but I definitely think we'll see more out of them. But anyway, we're getting on to our Van Halen news. So we have a bunch of different things that are interesting that are band related, so we'd like to bring them up. Dave, we should get to the good news. We have some special news in regards to our podcast, and it actually ties in with the first item on our news segment. Well, Dave and I are excited to announce that the Dave and Dave Unchained Van Halen podcast is now available on Spotify.
Yay!
Yeah, that's right. So it took some time to get available on there, but we are going to be available on there. We're also going to be available on YouTube as well. It is so easy to listen to the podcast on Spotify, it's ridiculous. So if you have it, just type in Dave and Dave Unchained. We will come up, and you can follow us and then go from there, and you'll get access to every podcast we have, and it's real nice and easy touchscreen to do on any of your phones. And, of course, we're still available on Spreaker.com, and we're available on iTunes for free, always for free. And tying in with that, there was a Spotify review that Dave brought to my attention by the Steve Hoffman Music Forums. And I thought this was an interesting study. They looked at per month what a artist gets in terms of plays or downloads or whatever. And, you never hear about these things, so I thought it'd be something cool to bring up. So You get an artist like Michael Jackson or the Beatles or Queen, and those guys are considered at the 10 million level, Dave, right? The 10 million level.
10 million plays a month,
10
right?
10 million plays a month. In that 10 million plays a month, you got Michael Jackson, you got Queen, you got the Beatles, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, the Stones, Bon Jovi, Aerosmith, Led Zeppelin, around that. They're in the 10 million club. Then in the 9 million club, you got like the Police, U2, Madonna, Eagles, Journey, Phil Collins, right? Then when we get to the 8 million club, we got Pink Floyd, Billy Joel, Tom Petty, Leonard Skinner. Then when you get to the 7 million club, you got Elvis Presley, George Michael, R.E.M., the Bee Gees. And when you get to the 6 million club, this is where we are. So Van Halen, we're still in good company. Van Halen is with Eric Clapton, Bruce Springsteen, Prince, The Clash, Cyndi Lauper. So we're around the 6 million plays, and that's where Van Halen stands, which, you know, I guess makes sense, but I mean, I never really thought about it until I met Noel and talked to Noel. He really talked about they had such an opportunity after 1984 to really start solidifying their legacy at that point, and they really didn't do that. You know what I mean? With that band, I should say. You know, they obviously broke up and then went off and did Van Hagar, and 5150 was very successful, but it's not really kind of the same legacy. It's just a different thing, you know, a different band, and I think, you know, had they continued on and moved forward, they could have been up there in the 9 million, 8 million range, you know what I mean? Where you see some of these other bands, because Van Halen just doesn't get that cachet for some reason. I don't know why, but I think it's because of that messy drama breakup stuff and the two versions of the band, and the fans start splintering off, and then Dave's solo career, and then that going south, and all of this sort of leaves a bad taste in the mouth. What do you think?
That's all true, but I will say I think it's impressive despite all that they didn't do.
That's true.
They're at the 6 million range.
Right.
I mean, they're in the same range as Bruce Springsteen and, interestingly, Toto.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah. I think Toto has like a huge European following.
Yeah.
They are quiet giants. Plus, the remake of Africa by Weezer, I think, is giving them some help too. Yeah. But despite all they don't do, they're still up there. I mean, 6 million is nothing to sneeze at.
No.
The one thing that I wish was there is how much current artists get per month.
That is
that
true.
Would really,
yeah. These are classic artists, right?
Right. These are catalog artists, I believe.
Right? Yeah.
And I mean, there was a whole list of them. It was crazy, and it was definitely very interesting to see where your favorite artist falls on the range of that. But I was actually just happy to see that Van Halen is still like way up there, and they're still highly regarded for their music,
right?
Which is really all that matters at the end of the day. But you're right. You're like sitting there going, man, they could be really, really up there if they just gave half a crap.
Right. Right. Well, you see, here's the thing. Had they even continued to promote their legacy, like we talked about many times before, the way AC/DC does and things like that, I think they would have even been higher. You know what I mean? Like, there's just something about being in the social conscience. You know what I mean? Yeah. And
it helps having your shirt sold at Walmart.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And you know, it just brings new generations as to knowledge of who Van Halen is. I mean, no, that sounds crazy. But as time goes on, generations start not knowing who's what. You know what I mean? You have to keep it out there.
Right. You have to keep feeding the machine. You have to keep your name out there, and like I said, you know, selling the T-shirts at Walmart. I mean, AC/DC has done a phenomenal job of that.
Right. That's
and other bands like them should follow their lead. Guns N' Roses, the same thing.
Another one,
right? Mm-hmm. You know, the Beatles, obviously.
Yep.
So lots of bands doing it that way. So, like I said, I think if Van Halen just gave half a damn, you know, they could easily be up there.
These other bands have done reissues and remasters and all kinds of stuff on their catalog, and you know,
the same stuff we've been crying about for
forever,
months.
Of course, and of course, the news is always dominated by Sammy Hagar. I mean, I got a pile of news from this guy. It's unbelievable. So, first of all, Sammy had his high tide beach party, okay? It happened on October 6th at Huntington State Beach in Huntington Beach, California. And he had a grand old time. The thing ended up being sold out. And he played One Way to Rock, Pound Cake, Good Times, Bad Times, which is Led Zeppelin's song, Rock Candy, the Montrose tune. Then Vince Neil came on, looking like me. And unfortunately, which means he was a hefty dude, and sang 3 songs. He did Kickstart My Heart, Wild Side, Girls, Girls, Girls. Then Sammy went back, did I Can't Drive 55, Right Now, Why Can't This Be Love? And he also pulled out No Worries, which was a new tune from the upcoming album Space Between. He also played heavy metal, Mas Mesquila, as he calls it now. And the show was closed by Joe Satriani, who made an appearance playing Surfing with the Alien. Cool enough. However, the encore, they had a little mini Chickenfoot set, because they had 3/4 of Chickenfoot there. He played Soap on a Rope, Oh Yeah, and Bigfoot, which is cool. And then they closed the night with Rock and Roll from Led Zeppelin with Kevin Cronin on vocals there, with Sammy, as well as Joe Sats on guitar. So that sounded like a really successful evening. According to Eddie Trunk, he says that Sammy is looking already to do it again next year and expand it to 2 days. So this guy is moving fast.
That's true, but I hope he gets it a little more right, because apparently they were running out of garbage cans.
Oh God!
And they ran out of beer.
Oh.
And they ran out of merch. You know, this was his first year doing it, so it's like the first year, like, you know, woes of trying to plan,
you live and you learn,
to plan this kind of thing. So I read a few online reviews who were like, you know, hey, yeah, the concert itself was good, but the concert going experience itself was tough.
Yeah, it's always tough, that way with the beginning. Sammy will tell you that. Was it 14,000, Dave, people they had or something? It was a lot of people.
It was more than they thought.
Oh, okay.
So I think which I'm not sure how they underestimated that, because I think they sold tickets to it. So I don't know how they were so far off. Yeah, there were pictures of like garbage cans overflowing all over the place.
Yeah, that's part of new event blues type thing. I'm sure they'll fix that, and Sammy he'll figure it out. Let me tell you something. The birthday shows used to be absolutely out of control until Sammy started getting a little more organized and regulated and figuring out the system. I mean, that's just the way things are, you know. But it's par for the course. Speaking of the birthday shows, Sammy then went from his high tide beach party down to Cabo San Lucas, where at the Cabo Wabo Cantina, Sammy had a 3-night birthday stand, and everybody knows no one loves their birthday more than Sammy Hagar. So, not only does he love his birthday, but he wants to make sure you know it's his birthday and that you wish him happy birthday. So, Sam, even though we tweeted and we put on Facebook and we put on VH Trading and we put it on Instagram, happy birthday, Sam, from the Dave and Dave Van Halen podcast. Dave and Dave
Sam, you never got back to us.
Yeah, he never got back to us.
He never got back to us, and I can't believe he didn't get back to us, Sam. I'm very disappointed and upset.
Unbelievable. Sam. He's unbelievable. So anyway, first night, he opened with Cabo Wabo, which I guess makes sense because he's at the Cabo Wabo. Kevin Cronin showed up, played a couple of REO Speedwagon tunes, Take It on the Run, Roll with the Changes. Jerry Cantrell showed up, played Man with the Box. Second night, Toby Keith showed up. He played All Right Now, Keep Your Hands to Yourself, and Johnny Be Good. And on the third night, I really enjoyed it. He pulled out I'll Fall in Love Again, Dave, which I enjoy that song. And
that is a good song,
and
yes.
Run Around. And Kevin Cronin came back for some more REO tunes. But the cool part about the people who went to Cabo, they got a little preview of the new album, Space Between, because Sammy started dropping new songs like No Worries, Can't Hang, Chump Change, Devil, Free Man, Bottom Line, Trust Fund Baby, and Hey Hey. So
wow, he did a lot.
Yeah, they were interspersed at all different. He spent a lot of new songs on the last